All right, for number 11, find the value of x, which proves the quadrilateral is a parallelogram. So if we're going to make it a parallelogram, one of the things we know about a parallelogram are the opposite angles are going to be congruent, and so these two angles are given to be congruent. And so now we want to show that angle P is going to be congruent to angle E. And we'll do that by just setting these two expressions equal to each other. So it's going to be 7x minus 27 equals 2x plus 18. And now we'll just solve this. So we'll minus 2x from both sides. And so we end up with 5x minus 27 is equal to 18. Now we'll move the 27 over. And so now we have 5x equals 45. Divide both sides by 5. And we finish with x equals 9. So the value of that, when x is 9, the angle P will equal angle E, thus making it a parallelogram. All right, number 12, SHOU is a parallelogram. So what do you know about each of the following? Justify your answer. So we're going to look at SH, and OU. So since this we were told that it's a parallelogram, we know that the opposite sides are congruent. So what do you know about each of the following? They are congruent, and then justify because opposite sides of a parallelogram are congruent. Okay, so let's take a look at B, and we'll put the answer down here. UT, so UT and TH. So since this is a parallelogram, one of the things we know about the diagonals of a parallelogram is that the diagonals bisect each other. So we know that these two pieces are congruent. So they are congruent because the diagonals of a parallelogram bisect each other. All right, now let's take a look at C. SU and HO. What do we know about those? And since it's a parallelogram, we know that the opposite sides are congruent. So they are congruent because the opposite sides of a parallelogram are congruent. So it's the same as this. Now on the test I wouldn't put ditto marks, I'd actually write it out. Okay, what would have to be true in order for the parallelogram to be a rectangle? And so if you remember the properties of rectangles, the diagonals are congruent. So what would have to be true? They would have to be congruent diagonals. So let's put this answer down here, and we're going to write a sentence at least. So in order to make SHOU a rectangle, the diagonals have to be congruent. And it's probably better to actually write out the words instead of using the symbols like I did up here. I was trying to conserve space. So on the test, I would definitely write everything out.